I will talk a little about starting a business, because when I talk in a forum like this is a very popular question. How do you start a business? Why do you start a business? When I graduated, came back, started working, delved into the family business, I found myself together with friends interested in running a business that was completely different from what my family was involved in. And at the time it seemed like a fun idea. And so for the people who are maybe 50 to 60, and a few who are 40 to 50, older ones, you know, I had a business in the industrial area called Club C. Like to 40, you hear about it as a legend.
I know.
So the reason why I choose this business, because unfortunately I've started many businesses, and I think in total I've started 15 businesses, and maybe 6 or 7 of them have crashed to hell. I have maybe 3 or 4 that are still around today, and maybe 5 which have really been successful. So it's a mixed bag in there. But this business, first and foremost, I come from a very strong Muslim family. So this business was not on the table to discuss. Every other business you can talk. In our families, you can bring together, you have an idea. Okay, this one, they say, okay, can you manage? Who's going to do it? How are you going to do it? How can we help? That's how the discussion happens over a table, and we discuss it. But this one was not on the table. Nobody wanted to know. Why? We're a religious family. The business has to sell alcohol. The business is open late in the night. This business is tough. So that one was a no-go area. So here I was trying to start a business that I didn't have any whatsoever family support. I was on my own, on your own. You're out there, you have to start on your own. So I think I learned a lot of lessons because I was determined to do the business. And as much as I knew that my family was fairly offended by it, I was very determined to do it. So it was a counterweight. The more they determined that you're not going to do it, the more you determined that you're going to do it. So I had to do a fundraising round, and I put together 15 people. So I went out, and I had 2 brothers who were close to me. They're very tight, left and right. One of them was a F&B guy. He knew about food. He was the food guy. Another guy, he knew about IT, the sound, music, that thing. Me, I was in the center. I was going to run the business. Once I had this team of 3, I went out to find another 12 people. Because I needed to raise in that day, I think I needed to raise $200,000. So I broke it down into the amounts that I thought were reasonable. And I think there were 15,000 per person. Anyway, and I put together a proposal. So I approached all these people, I convinced them. Some said no. Actually, I think I talked to 35 people, and I ended up with 12. Other than my 2, the 2 were good to go from the beginning. For them, that was there was no turning back on the 2 of us. And so one of the things that you learn how to do is you learn how to face people that are not your relatives and speak to them, to sell them an idea, and to convince them that they will get a return on investment. So here I was, I speak to these people. I must have been 25 or about 24, 25 in age. same age as the young man over there. And I'm convincing everybody, we're going to do this thing. We're going to have a great place. We're going to have a good time. We're going to enjoy ourselves and we're going to make money while we're at it. It was a tough time. We were coming out of a lot of insecurity. The city was fairly dark. But there were opportunities abound. The opportunities were many. If I compare it to today, all the bars in the suburbs were not there. So here we were at a time where everybody went into the CBD to have a good time. So we were like, let's go into this thing, let's do it. I learned a lot of things in the fundraising rounds. I learned that there are people who would say they will do something and then they don't do it. Somebody says, yes, I'm in. A week later, you are expecting a week later. So they kill you in terms of time. And I learned a lot about sequencing of raising capital. I got fundamental schooling in raising capital. I learned that you need to give somebody, if somebody says, yes, I'm interested, what's the deadline? You have 30 days. In 30 days, if you say, you've not shown up, you're not in. You know, and then, and you need to learn, you need to have more documentation, more readiness as you go into fundraising rounds. And this was first-hand, because at this point in time, I might have said I was just learning on the street. I was learning as I went along. But you would go to someone, you would say, yes, I will do it, they don't do it. So unreliable people becomes very important. We all have people, they're close to us, we love them maybe, we grew up with them, but they're just unreliable. And the sooner we become realistic that, yeah, that guy is my buddy, we hang out, maybe we sometimes go out, we have a good time with him, but he is unreliable. That is one of your first business lessons. Who is who around you? What's their story? And unreliability is a big one, because at the time when you need that person, they're not going to pitch. Important. The points I'm trying to make as I go along are about the key things that you need to learn to be able to move in life, to be able to succeed in life, because sometimes those are the things that, of course, they never teach us in school. They'll teach you about a P&L, they'll teach you about legal, they'll teach you about this, they'll teach you about the other. But when you come down to the ground, you need to depend on people. And that you will end up in the same situation with employees. You'll end up in the same situation even with girlfriends. For the young men, you will have the unreliable girlfriend who you can't depend on. One you can't depend on. So you have to filter fairly early. You have to be very businesslike with this issue of unreliability. At least, even if you want to hang out with these people, be aware. Once you're aware, your life is very good. You're not stressed. You don't depend on them. You're not going to wait on somebody. Integrity, keeping your word. And this is a tough one. Integrity, keeping your word. And then the reason why it's tough, I'll be honest with you, and maybe the older people here might relate to this, is because it's often confused with morality. Morality, the legal people here will say, it's something different. It is a standard of some sort. It's a morality. Integrity is about you and what you say and what you do. You as the person. I'll leave this for you to do your own research. Why do people confuse integrity with morality? I have no idea. But I have found, going through life, that sometimes people have this some aspects actually of morality. Integrity is an aspect of morality. I'd have to agree to that. But the moral standards of a society can be very different, so let's set those ones aside. I'll not go into that too much. The most important thing that you do when you go out there every single day is to establish your standard. What is your standard? I tell my sons, when you drive out of the gate and you find a newspaper guy and he gives you the newspaper and you don't have the 2,500 or 3,000 or whatever to give the guy for that newspaper you buy. I read one newspaper a week, the rest I read online. But I buy the East African. When I don't have it, I have to pay banja. That guy there expects his money. But to some people, they're very comfortable not paying him until he comes and says, boss, you owe me money. And that's the minimum. We take it all the way, and this is everybody's responsibility. Sometimes I've hung out with guys, especially guys. Now I'm glad that there are only guys here. And their house girls are not paid salary because madam maybe is a bit negligent. It is everybody's responsibility to make sure that that person on that 30th is paid. They are your employee. They cook your food. They look after your children. That's where you start. If you think you're going to go out there and build a big business like Total or whatever, and you can't pay your house girl, you're dead in the water. You're not going to make any headway. So we need to have that minimum. We need to kwebanja. You have to kwebanja. I hope I'm not speaking. I'm sorry, I apologize. You have to all the time remind yourself, who is it? It's my this, it's the other. I find myself, because I have over the years built this as very important, I find it very easy to live life. I'm very comfortable. I tell my plumber, go home, do something. He knows. He goes, he fixes it. He knows he'll get the money. Sometimes he will not say, or he'll send me a WhatsApp after 3 days. He says, boss, this money. He knows he'll get it. All of you, especially the younger guys. And so I think, the older ones, sometimes it's hard to change. But the younger people, you need to have a strong basis. One of the things you have to do in your mind and set yourselves up for is to be thorough when it comes to keep something small if you want to, but you will be good on your word. If you are good on your word, you will be successful in whatever way. You might never become a Sudi. Not everybody is going to become a Sudi. But if you're good on your word, you're going to be successful. I promise you that, 100%. I know very few people, and I traverse, I walk, I'm in networks, I'm in groups, I am in what you name it, I'm in all sorts of societies here. I am there. I know very few successful people who have zero integrity, who do very badly. And the ones who are very bad, we know them. And we don't deal with them. And after a while, we don't talk to them. We just ignore them. We say, you know what, that person, we don't know what happened to him. And we just keep quiet. But the people who are good, you see them. They're very clear. So I'm not going to mention them. But I think that I can't emphasize that enough. People will only call you to the table to discuss, to do things if you show a strong sense of integrity, or at least you aspire to high standards of integrity. You might not succeed every single time. You might fail, you might miss a day, you might not, but aspire to the highest levels of integrity. I learned how to build teams. I learned how to put together diverse people. Teamwork. Bring one person, get another person, hire. Remember, I had no family support, so I had to learn, I had to go out into the market. I couldn't dig into all the resources that I had at home. So now I had to go out and find fresh faces. So I had to learn how to hire, learn how to build teams of people who will deliver, learn how to fire. Most important, as soon as you learn how to hire, you have to learn how to fire. Because when you hire, you have to fire. Those two go hand in hand. We all want to hire and keep people for a long time, yeah. But a lot of times, you hire, it doesn't work out, you need to fire. And those are the skills that I learned now, setting up a business away from the safety net, the systems, the structure that I had when I went back into the family setup. 2 or 3 things I must say, and I must add, and I must give a bit of credit. I always give credit that my family never threw me out because I had done this. They carved out a bit of time and they said, okay, that's your time. But they expected me to come back to do the things that I had responsibility for. So I wasn't thrown out, but they sort of like turned up, they put on blinders. They said, okay, we can do that thing. And I think they were mature to say, I think time is going to come, you will get tired of it. It will not work out, you will fail, all those things that people say. And so I think I did very well. I did very well for my investors. I gave back my investors 5 times the money that they put in the business. A lot of investors decided to pull out because the 2 partners that I had were very intense about the business. They were really into the business, actually more than myself. So eventually I sold my business, my share, to my partner, and my partner Elvis, he took his stake in the business. So he continued to run the business. The business sort of like was challenged towards the end because I think they made a choice to make a real estate investment, which I think was at the wrong time. So they tried to buy the premises where they were, and the financials didn't work out very well. So, but they had diversified, they had bought other businesses, they had gone to some lounges, they did that scheme of things, they had done silk events. So there is still something rolling after. I still can say that we did very well. I did very well from that. I will touch on one more thing, and then I will allow for Q&A. I don't know how I'm doing for time. Who's managing the time? I might have been.